Nearly 2 billion surveillance cameras on Earth and climbing, on streets, cars, drones, even cat collars. The first science fiction prediction fulfilled in full, faster than the futurists supposed, and exactly backwards. 2 loops, a robber who smeared lemon juice on his face, and why the only victims of the camera age are burglars and aliens. On January 6, 1995, a 44-year-old man named MacArthur Wheeler decided to rob 2 banks in the suburbs of Pittsburgh. He did not wear a ski mask. He did not tie a bandana over his mouth, nor did he pull a stocking over his head. Instead, Wheeler walked into the Mellon Bank in Swissvale, and shortly after, the First Federal Savings Branch in West Mifflin, completely bare-faced. He pointed a semi-automatic handgun at the tellers, smiled at the security cameras, and walked away with about $5,200. Wheeler was not trying to get caught. He believed he was completely invisible. Earlier that day, his accomplice, Clifton Earl Johnson, had shared a curious piece of chemistry. Lemon juice works as invisible ink. Wheeler, applying a strict logical progression to this fact, reasoned that coating his skin in citric acid would make his face invisible to security camera sensors. To verify his hypothesis, Wheeler conducted a preliminary test. He smeared lemon juice over his eyes and skin, grabbed a Polaroid camera, and snapped a selfie. When the image developed, it was blank. Perhaps because the juice stung his eyes and caused him to aim at the ceiling, or because the film was expired. To Wheeler, however, the empty square of film was empirical proof. The system worked. He executed the scientific method perfectly, but on a fundamentally false premise. That evening, local news stations broadcasted crisp, clear surveillance footage of his smiling, unmasked face. An informant recognized him within minutes, and police arrested Wheeler at his home before midnight. A year after the arrest, psychologist Dunning-Kruger read about the robbery in a news brief. Working with David Dunning, he published a landmark 1999 study on how the highly incompetent lack the cognitive tools to recognize their own ignorance. The lemon juice bank heist quickly became a global shorthand for supreme, unearned confidence. The significance of this arrest reaches far past a single incompetent thief. It marks the history of an entire civilization changing underneath him. In 1984, George Orwell conceived the telescreen as an instrument of totalitarian control. It was a flat, metal plaque forced upon the population, broadcasting state propaganda while watching from above to enforce obedience. Modern reality inverted the prophecy. Our cameras spread through private consumer demand rather than government coercion. From London's metropolitan network of over 900,000 eyes to Beijing's 1.15 million, public surveillance has grown with widespread popular approval. In the private sector, the expansion is even faster. In the United States, recent industry data shows that 47% of all internet households now own at least one security camera. The telescreen arrived exactly as predicted, but we paid for it ourselves and chose the mounting height. In 1969, a nurse living in Queens, New York, filed a patent that established the blueprint for the entire home surveillance industry. Her name was Marie Van Britten Brown. Driven by a simple desire to feel safe in a neighborhood with slow police response times, she and her husband Albert built a working prototype. Their system featured a motorized camera that slid up and down between peepholes on the front door, transmitting live images to an indoor television monitor. It also featured a 2-way microphone, an electric lock controlled by remote, and a one-press panic button connected directly to local police. This invention is the direct ancestor of the modern smart doorbell, a consumer category that now sells up to 500,000 units every year in the United States alone. Today's models do not merely show who is at the door, they recognize specific faces and track patterns of movement. In any major American city, hiding from authorities is now effectively impossible, but the history of the Patent Office is over. To understand how this voluntary dragnet actually functions, we have to look past the sales figures and the engineering triumphs. The people who know these cameras best are the ones they helped catch. Ask the professionals, and the testimony remains uniform. In an Oregon prison poll of approximately 100 convicted burglars, home security cameras were named the absolute top occupational hazard. A clear majority of those surveyed admitted they would abandon a residential job entirely rather than risk passing a camera. A separate University of North Carolina survey of 500 inmates returned the exact same answer. On a civic scale, the empirical data matches this street-level deterrence. Chicago deployed approximately 8,000 street cameras and recorded an average 12% reduction in city crime. Swedish National Police credited their own ubiquitous public networks with a 20 to 25% drop in offenses. In the United Kingdom, London's live facial recognition cameras produced over 1,000 arrests of dangerous suspects in a single year. Burglary is quickly becoming a deprecated profession, systematically phased out by a self-imposed digital dragnet. In 2009, an actor in New York named Joe Cummings noticed food vanishing from his kitchen. He set up a hidden camera, expecting to catch a roommate or a rodent. Instead, the footage captured a thin woman silently lowering herself from an overhead crawl space, foraging through his refrigerator and climbing back into the ceiling. Police later concluded she had been living in his apartment for weeks. An even more patient occupant was discovered in Kyushu, Japan in 2008. A resident, troubled by a dwindling food supply, installed a security camera. The lens revealed a 58-year-old homeless woman. She had sneaked into his flat and spent a full year living inside a small upper storage closet, sleeping on a foldable mattress and slipping out to eat only when he left the house. And in North Gyeongsang, South Korea, a woman who repeatedly found her laundry disturbed used home cameras to capture a serial intruder. The footage showed him breaking into her residence 3 times to steal underwear directly from her laundry basket. These consumer devices did not just secure properties, they systematically validated anxieties that used to be dismissed as clinical paranoia. Sometimes the shadow in the corner is real, and it is captured in 1080p resolution. Our insistence on total visibility has quietly killed our stories. Modern horror, thriller, and detective fiction increasingly retreat into the pre-camera past because smartphones and smart homes instantly destroy their plots. The same dragnet has decimated our mythologies. Sightings of Bigfoot, UFOs, and the Loch Ness Monster have collapsed in direct proportion to the density of cameras in human pockets. When mysterious glowing lights swirled over downtown Milwaukee in 2018, triggering internet panic, a local television station deployed a drone to investigate. Within 30 minutes, the mystery was solved. The glowing alien entities were seagulls, illuminated from below by streetlights. We live in boring times, and that boredom is the receipt. When we are not debunking birds, the most watched cameras on Earth are the ones we hang on cat collars. The roaming house cat point of view has become its own massive genre, with shorts regularly surpassing 200 million views. It turns out that when given the power of total surveillance, people ultimately prefer watching pets to watching people. Ultimately, we are left with 2 billion lenses pointing inward. Does this vast network buy us safety, or have we merely designed our own perfect trap? Subscribe for more stories.